So hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is my first time streaming at night, actually. So yeah, because I couldn't do it in the morning because I ended up doing something else entirely in the morning. So yeah, we would be studying today at night, man. Like that's like the best thing we can do, right? Okay, let me just bring this closer for some reason because it's too far away. My camera, right? So yeah. Okay. So I guess yep. So yeah. So we couldn't study in the morning. That's why we have to study at night tonight. So that's like, yeah. So that's how it goes. Okay. So, hey, I'm actually, what the hell? I'm actually getting this right on the right YouTube channel, right? Okay. Let me just check that out for a sec. That I'm streaming on the right channel because who knows, maybe I end up fucking that shit up. And then I'm like, after a couple of hours, I realized that I'm streaming on the wrong channel. And then that's just not right, I guess. But by the way, I can share the screen. So, like, yeah. So last time, like you guys know, we were like on this, but I guess where were we? Not at this. We were at precision. Summaries about precision itself. I think. Okay. By the way, oh yeah, this is how it happens. Like, okay, so for example, if no prior data actually comes into actually figuring these things out, it's kind of like hallucinates or something. Okay, let me just go to. Let me just disable that because off, and we go to content. And we go to live. Let's just hope it shows we are live. We are live. There's nothing to worry about, guys. Like, so let's just close that and let's just go to our predictive processing and AI. Right. And I think last time we were reading about the shit and like, yeah. Okay, yeah, I didn't put my headphones. What the hell I'm doing? This is the first time me actually streaming without the headphones. I didn't even realize that. Right. Yeah. Okay, the core idea of the whole section, it changes what evidence you gather. Because of that, it can accidentally reinforce a false belief. Yeah, this was reinforcing, so for example, bias the data. Hmm. Because in the prior model, precision changes. Because of precision changing, what happens or what tends to happen is that, so for example, on the basis of what's prior model, you change precision, right? Because things different matters differently, and there's different probabilities to different thing. Okay, yeah. So because of what happens because of that is like, okay, so for example, let's say there's one person in front of you and you're focusing on that one person, and then you start look at that one person, and then you start to realize, okay, this person is okay. You make a prediction: is this person a thief or a friend or something like that? And then look at them and they have like you predict that it's 3 a.m. in the morning, right? No one's gonna come to your house at that time, so you probably think it's a thief, right? Because of like prior beliefs and something like that. So you probably think it's a thief. So now what happens is, because if it's a thief, you start looking at like, okay, do they have a black dress or something, or specific things like that. So it's like precision becoming different on the basis of like who's coming. So now precision start to pay no attention not on their face but on their clothes, on their activity, right? Yeah, are they walking loudly or are they walking slowly? Are they calling your name? So this is like, and you try to, this is what they call like try to look for the evidences, right? That actually allows you to know. So this is what precision is. So it's like it biases. So now in that moment you can actually have a lot of different ways. Like you can pay attention to your fan, you can pay attention to AC, the room, the bed sheet, but of course you're not going to pay attention to that. You're going to pay attention to that guy who's actually walking outside of your house or something at 3 in the morning. And that's what they kind of like show here is that okay, someone joined the stream. Hello. So what they kind of like show here is that so if you don't have a prior model, you start to hallucinate. So now what happens? So even if it's, let's say it's your friend, right? It's just a very rare, like it's very rare for you to achieve a situation where they're coming at the 3 a.m. in the morning. But let's say today's your birthday and they just thought of surprising you or something. But you're not gonna think that. You're gonna think it's a thief, and then you're gonna go and you're gonna get your gun and you're gonna get your like or whatever the tools that you can have, right, to actually protect yourself against them, right? Because you're predicting. So this is like how the prior beliefs, right, that there's always a thief at night causes you to actually gather certain different data which is not even present. So for example, if they're just walking slowly, you're going to start thinking, oh, they're walking slowly, that means, or they're not making much noise, that means they're being mischievous or something, or they're trying to hide in, and then they get a weapon. Right, and maybe it's a winter morning, and they just wore a lot of warm clothes, and then you look at them and you're like, oh, they're hiding their face, and as soon as they open the door, you bang them in the head or they die, and then you find out it's your friend. All right, kind of crazy shit. You watch them now to prediction confirm that reminds even for prediction generally creates evidence that support itself. That's what people call full cerebral. Yeah. There's also market psychology that I need to learn. But what I did realize that I need I need to get into investing. The investing, because the thing is, over time, I think if I started in 1 year, I would be insanely intelligent at it, because I would be in just within a year we will complete 1, 2, if not 3 books on that. So it's like I do insanely intelligent at that, and then you have like things that I don't get from ChatGPT. So hundreds of thousands of chats with ChatGPT. Once we have get that, it's like for the next 50 years, we just profit from that. That's it. So like yeah, from that skill that we developed. Let's just hope stock market doesn't go anywhere, like or something. It's never gonna go anywhere. One for never settle. Explain reality. This is instant of conversion, and this is like one of the biggest lines that they've ever said in the entire book. I've actually stopped taking notes on this, but I'll say. Cannot explain reality. You keep running instead of converging, so you keep running for data. Something. Use the error. But if it doesn't, that's just learn helplessness. Helplessness. So you constantly try to reduce errors, but then you find out that all the errors you're trying to reduce is like, yeah, some worries about precision, brief sketch at precision. The target article, a peer review journal, behavior brains. About precision, unexpected. Okay. We are gonna. I realize it's far much better to use ChatGPT to explain, and yeah, that's kind of like skyrockets our speed of learning. Not gonna lie, and that is what I wanted in my life, to skyrocket the speed of learning. To cross that, by the way, if you want, I just want to have it's in a new tab. Move in a new tab so that I could have it in my another paper, so I can just write down all the thoughts that I'm having simultaneously. Works a lot better, I suppose, for me. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, let's just get snipping tool. What do you have to skip again? Okay, let's just cancel that. We have to go here. It's slightly lagging. I hope I had a better laptop, but no worries, we don't have that. So okay, let's just cross that, and okay, till where? Okay, till here. Right, so now we go with a new. Okay. We upload that to ChatGPT. We're gonna use instant rather than using high intelligence or something, because like yeah, it's gonna cost too much for the ChatGPT to constantly. But it's like the better model. Oh yeah, I did upgrade my model to like my ChatGPT to premium, because yeah, I do really use it for learning to code to and everything. I think like at this point I did need to buy a better man, that like a better version of it. Like it's kind of given. Like yeah, literally it's kind of given. Can I go it like that? Yeah, I can do it like this, but okay. I'm getting a message for the dinner, I suppose. So let's just, yeah, man, I should be eating some food, I suppose. What shall I do? Let's just, yeah, on do not disturb. So let's just eat dinner late tonight or something. We can just cause an ad. We can just say, okay, if you want this shit here in the photo, how clear it is in the photo. That's the point. Yeah, it's really clear. Though for ChatGPT it will be kind of hard a little bit to understand what it's saying, but then again, it won't be too hard. Prediction control V, control V, and then we can go on with that stuff, right? So we can just say, okay, We can go here and we can go here, right? So that's just control V. I don't know how many photos do I have. Unexpected elephant. Okay. Understanding the role of precision expectations. Okay, we can go with that too, but we can go with that and we can just start reading now. It's like, okay, basically answering a criticism. Okay, predictive processing explains spatial attention, looking at location, but what about features, feature attention, looking for specific things? I found four-leaf clover. You don't know, you're not attending to location. Explains paying attention to a face, not paying attention to a feature. For example, instead of increasing the weight on the bonus level. It is faster. Now suppose you find approximately where it is. It's probably maybe a different level. Oh, that's why we have multi-level modeling. Okay. That's why we have multi-layer modeling. So now what they're saying, guys, is like precision at working at a multi-level. So for example, if you are okay. Oh, so that's how brain functions. It's like, first of all, you prefer the cortex. Of course, you prefer the cortex. And okay, so data comes from eyes, and eyes remember the textile and stuff like that. So there's prediction there too. So they can assign precision there. At the same time, eye sends it to like, I don't know, hypothalamus or whatever it sends information. That second V1, V2, and then prefrontal cortex. So at V1, there's precision. So let's say V1 is responsible for remembering bold text. Eyes is responsible for remembering features or something. It's not responsible, but it's predicting how the pages look like, right? So that's what eyes predict. That's what like your per se V1 predicts like the boneless. The V2 predicts like, okay, this boneless comes from a page from and we have opened the page on Obsidian. Remember the context, right? V4 may predict, okay, we are someone who actually reads the book because we yeah. So every different layer, guys, every different layer remember something or predict something, right? And so for example, you can assign precision at multiple layers. That's why you can remember that, okay, I need a book which is in my Obsidian notes, which has a bold text, right? That I left at yesterday morning, or I did have it left in morning, because then you have access to memory too. So like, okay, all these associations, beautiful, marvelous. Attention changes perception because prediction error. All right. Attention changes perception, prediction error. Instead of prediction error, attention changes its gain. Feature relevant to the current task. Actually, Mitsubishi then is a cloud defending predictive processing against another criticism. What people perceive before any prediction error, doesn't that break predictive processing? Changes what people perceive before. Where attention acts. So I give high precision to investing because my model thinks that, okay, unpredictable, okay, normal conditions. So for example, yeah, you can definitely say that. High value to those things because that those things would reduce error over a long periods of time or something like that. Right. So for example, you can choose, and okay, there's some uncertainty, like not evolutionary based, but okay, some uncertainty about the environment, and that's what gets spikes. So for example, I'm investing, and even though I'm choosing to invest, okay, and then there's okay, and then something unpredictable happened while I'm. So it's like I care about the information because it carries news, and I think the investing has importance. So that means reducing prediction error about that activity also gets precision. So it's like precision within the precision. So for example, yeah, I think the environment. Okay, yeah, indigenous goal equal increased precision. Sudden event increased precision. Same mechanism, different causes, but it's like one happens because you think something has value. Has value because it's because of the model itself that you have increases the gain, right? It's because of the model increase the gain. So for example, I learned that stock leads to maximum money, right? So stock leads to maximum money. That's what I've learned, right? Stock market gives the maximum return, not maximum money, but yeah, maximum returns on investments, right? So maximum ROI ROI. And what I did realize, and what I did realize, that if it gives like a maximum ROI, then it's better to be in the stock market than it's better than gold and different kind of stuff. So I want to make more money because I used to think that okay, being money, having higher shit tons of money is being in a better position, survivally and evolutionary, and have more status, right? Something like that. Right. And my model thinks that people only respect you or give a shit about you if you have money, and you are judged by the basis of your utility in the society rather than being judged by how good or bad you are, which is not even judgeable at some point because you are a prediction machine constantly trying to reduce uncertainty. The very idea that a human is evil, bad, and moral doesn't make any sense. People are constantly trying to chase status because status reduces uncertainty about their future states. That's it. And I'm just pretty much doing that, chasing status. And now you can say this is another sophisticated reason to chase money. And yeah, it is. What the fuck you're going to do with that? But so if you and but it's not, it's actually make neuroscientifically more sense than the very idea that yeah, because I've met people at Discord today and they were saying money is evil, or not evil, a billionaire people are evil, but they want to get started that, and they thought communism or whatever that is kind of possible, or and something like that. But I just like, yeah, but they were delusional into the very idea that humans are fundamentally good. They're not fundamentally good or bad. I think the very idea or the very discrimination that humans are good or bad, it's not like that. For example, you have a girlfriend, right, and the girlfriend betrays you for the guy who's jacked, who's a lot of money, who's rich and something like that, and better than you. Like for example, let's say you have a girlfriend and this is a very simple example actually, and this is very simplified, but then again, like let's say there's a person, right, and she has two options to choose, right? There's one guy, like choose, she's not now attached to you, because when attachment happens and people are vulnerable and they've exposed themselves to a lot of times, attachment happens and choosing becomes insanely hard. And of course you're not going to choose if the attachment has lasted for 10 or 15 years. But now, why you're not going to choose is because it becomes meaningless. Because if you have spent so much energy into modeling someone else's and so much trust, all of that, choosing someone else just spikes more uncertainty. It's not that you're not choosing someone else because you're fucking loyal. You're not choosing someone else over the person you have, even if the person you are having as an option is better. It's because choosing that person would be far much more uncertain for you because you don't know what's going to happen. But if in a vacuum world, if I was to give you the information or deliver you the news, the being with this person is far much advantageous. You will experience a different type of love. You'll be insanely happy. Your future will be together. Your kids will be great, and all of that kind of information. If I get the uncertainty that she feels like it gets reduced and she's gonna leave a partner or something. So the very idea is like, you have a female. I think female these days are becoming more and more incompetent. I mean, males are also getting incompetent. So that, like, yeah, we can't deny that. But then again, yeah, from societal standard, I'm also considered incompetent because I didn't go to college and like yeah, completed after high school. So that's like yeah, I'm also considered incompetent as long as I don't earn money or I won't be respected anywhere I go. In fact, I did realize at some point the only reason I'm respected or not being actually hunted by a lot of people is because my father is relatively rich compared to our relatives. But if I were to go in those areas, like I would be fucking disrespected unnecessarily. Thanks goodness to my father. Can't deny like how much he fucking like helped me in my entire lifetime. Do I think he's the best dad? Of course not. Fuck no. But do I think he's he has reduced a lot of uncertainty for me for the past couple of decades? Like not couple of decades, only like one almost about 2 decades. Yeah, he's reduced massive uncertainty. Without him, survival would have been insanely hard. Without his money and yeah. So yeah, so I guess just like all humans, I'll reciprocate that, but but yeah. So but I'm not emotionally attached with my dad, am I? Like in the past I was, but at this point, like we barely talk about anything. We only talk about things that are important to talk about or something you have to talk about. Besides that, we hardly ever talk. We don't really share that intimacy that like dad or children shares. It's not like the relationship is bad or he hates me or I dislike him. It's not. It's just pretty neutral with very less emotional attachment, I guess. So over time, I guess that happens a lot because of my isolation too, and he comes at late at night because he's like all multiple businesses, so he like by the time I wake up he's already gone, and at late at night I'm doing like he comes at 9 or 9:30, so it's like working the entire day, and then as soon as he comes back he goes to bed after 1.5 hours, so that's again there, but it's kind of like intimacy. But then again, I think his worldview and different things like that was kind of also like his belief in Islam and faith like that was also another one of the biggest factors why emotional intimacy and especially just connection or attachment kind of like degraded over time, and his force and I'm not gonna say like he was a bad person, but you get the gist. So it's just two systems not being in alignment with each other because of different values and different motives and different predictive models. That's it. Nothing good, nothing bad. But a normal person would say, oh, how unfalal or falal or unfalal kid or whatever they call it, like for not being obedient to dad or not liking him. It's not like that. You can't control that. It's like if someone doesn't really help you to reduce uncertainty, yeah, though financially he does help massive reduction in uncertainty. But mental health, can't say anything about that. It's kind of, in fact, I would say kind of like makes it worse. But not the best dad, not the worst dad, pretty much, yeah. I mean, even I don't really get the concept of worst or best dad at some point. Like, at the end of the day, like every normal dad is just an average person out there who's trying their best to actually earn money. So if in future my son comes up to me and say, "Oh, you're not the best dad," or "You're the worst dad," or something, I'm like, "What the fuck, bro? I'm just here trying to reduce uncertainty for myself while raising you and reducing your uncertainty. You should be fucking grateful. I give you millions of dollars, all right, if not millions of thousands of dollars, and yeah, that's more than enough. My dad giving me money, I guess, and that's what I will do if I ever had a kid. I mean." Reduce uncertainty for them, but yeah, it's their life to choose what the fuck they're gonna do, because at the end of the day, you can still bias the inputs that they have, especially earlier child. So what you can do is pretty much give them books so that specifically increase neuroplasticity. So like that's like a really good way to actually make sure that their predictive model of reality is far much more efficient. And doesn't give them into unnecessary problems. Doesn't allows them to know the difference between what's right and wrong far much more efficiently, better than compared to a normal adult, which is just a dimwit. But yeah, making them understand about markets, about addiction, how human functions, how human psychology tends to betray, how people constantly have very, how they get stuck up in contradictions, how they constantly deceive themselves. Not exactly deceive themselves. It's about reducing error in a way that that creates a bubble, right? Just like we talk about in the upper section, how like AI kind of how a prior prediction or how a prior model constantly seek for the data that actually validates it rather than seeking for the data that actually contradicts it. So when they start seeking data that kind of like validates it, its prediction gets stronger about that thing, but rather than it should be chasing the data that actually contradicts it, but it seeks the data that validates it. What happens over time is that when they keep on chasing data, more and more data that kind of gets validated, what happens over time is they start deceiving themselves, right? They start deceiving themselves. All right, and not deceived by themselves, but it's like it's a brain tendency to check out for the data. And if there are a lot of millions of people who have created data for out there for them, which is kind of a lie, but it's good enough for them to actually validate it or assign some precision to it. What happens over time is that they build a model which is not appropriate or in alignment with its world or something. And so so this is the reality, which you can call X, and this is your model, which kind of like starts to drift because and then they create. So the more those prediction gets enforced, like the brain starts to think, even if when prediction error comes, it starts to reduce prediction error in very different ways by saying, oh, this person is just stupid, rather than saying, okay, they contradict my world order, and why did I fall the way they contradicted it or something, and releasing, okay, this is what they have to say, and what my and that entirely different perspective is like about the precision and how the information works is like different, yeah. I'm in really high energy. Yeah. Let's go faster. Okay. Yeah. The unexpected elephant. Yeah. Uh, Environment goal. Final paragraph. Your brain constantly balancing top-down predictions with bottom-up prediction errors. What decides what is the precision? If precision shifts towards sensory input, the sense dominate. Prediction shifts towards model. Expectations dominate. Attention is simply the mechanism that changes this balance. Sensei from prediction error. Prediction decide how much the error matters. Model update or action. Action itself. Oh, you can't say receive prediction error, but attention kind of like biases that. So he was like targeting critiques at this point. I mean, he could have just explained the entire thing rather than targeting the critiques or getting targeted by the critiques. I don't know why he has the fucking insecurity about people targeting this idea. But I guess, yeah, he just, like, yeah, this book was not written for himself, but the book was relatively written to establish the idea of, like, yeah. And I have seen people with hundreds of thousands of books in their library. Bro, how the fuck do you even read that? Like, if you have very asymmetric books that takes a lot of time to read, that means, like, yeah, it takes a lot of time to read. Even with like constantly using ChatGPT or something like that to actually fast forward the learning processes or something, right? I mean, doesn't make any sense how we are able to read. I mean, in a year you should be able to read most asymmetric books like 10 to 12 or something, which actually gives a really good model of reality. Or something, like, yeah, but then again, you should complete models because yeah, they can create real errors or something. This prediction error, why are we hypothesis? Yeah, okay, remember the perception action loop. Yeah, so the leading hypothesis, and then you chase out data. So there's error that travels upward, and what you do is, like, in order to reduce error, you like move I. So you assign precision to the error, right? So first of all, prediction. So you have prediction, sensory data lives, prediction, sensory inputs, prediction error, which is like error propagate upwards. Like precision decides the importance. Error ignored or travel upwards. Ignored or travel upwards, and hypothesis reduce it. How is to reduce it? Leading hypothesis, not like leading hypothesis that appears. Error spikes. I did ask. Yeah, but I did understand it by myself without actually needing that. No, not enough to reduce the error. To reduce. Something like this is what happens, right? This is an entire process that happens. And what I did realize, yeah. So first of all, a brain makes predictions. Since the input arrives, prediction error appears. Precision decides the importance, right? And after that, either the error get ignored or travel upwards, or it propagates upwards. Then leading hypothesis forms, like, yeah, or the already formed leading hypothesis, right? So like probabilistic estimates of like what is right and wrong, and not if the leading hypothesis is not good enough to reduce the error, the action to reduce the error is actually taken, right? Okay, so we have another view. Hello, welcome to the stream. I said it's Scream or something. Yeah, welcome to the stream. I suppose every new piece of evidence is okay. So currently we are reading a book on predictive processing or something. If you get that, like, yeah. So it's pretty much talks about how brain functions and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, this is move, I collect evidence, and then action is taken to actually reduce error, right? When the leading hypotheses are not good enough, or maybe even if the leading hypotheses are good enough, you still take action to actually check or something. Yeah. If you have any questions, you can ask them in chat. I suppose every new piece of evidence is trunk that. It's an elephant. Here's the important part: noting something subtle. The final perception does reduce prediction error, but itself maybe. I need to go to the washroom. Supposed to see if fulfills all. Does it get highlighted? Oh yeah, my screen is yellow, so I won't be able to see much. Because if I filter, let me just change that a sec. Wait a sec, guys. Yeah, I should now be able to see. Yeah, it's highlighted. Suppose the see fulfill all systems expect. Let us survive the test of high precision prediction. The elephant percept as at that point is one of the best represent what cognitive systems know and expect about the world. Well, the elephant on the stage persists as the winning hypothesis. Of driving inputs. I have to go to washroom, guys. How efficiently do a company reduce errors that keeps on appearing, and what kind of errors they are reducing for the masses? That kind of matters the most in the long run. But I'll come back in a minute. Like, yeah, just from washroom. Like, yeah, just a minute. What's my dinner time, honestly? I should go downstairs and get my dinner in like half an hour or something and then come back to start studying at like, yeah. But yeah, given the right driving signal. The agent unexpected kind can thus win out so as to explain the highly weighted tide of it. Oh, that's why when someone betrays you, you try to reduce error by saying, okay, why can't they betray me, or how is it possible for them to betray me? You reduce the error because like there's constantly data that says you, oh, they like you. So you say you reduce the error by not denial, because the people think that people literally think that another person is in denial, but they're not in denial. They're just trying to find out hypothesis why they would have done that. And you may say, okay, it's kind of inevitable why they would have done that from your perspective, but from their perspective, they thought like maybe let's say they are delusional about their own value. Maybe they do not believe that they have some fundamental wrongness or something, and then they come to a conclusion. Let's say they reduce error by saying, okay, the reason why that person abandoned me, like in betrayals we see this all the time, is like they reduce, like for example, they saw someone who would have abandoned me, they received the information. At first they will say something like, okay, they couldn't abandon me, or they wouldn't abandon me because that doesn't make sense and you're lying to me. Like let's say I go to my best friend and tell him, oh, your girlfriend abandoned you by she left with another guy, and she left this message from me to you that okay, that she doesn't like you. And then at the start he will fight me and say that's not possible, and then they're gonna go to WhatsApp or whatever, the Instagram, and gonna check if their girlfriend is there for them, and then they're gonna realize they're blocked, and they're like, why the fuck they would do that? Maybe, and then they'll come up with a hypothesis that okay, maybe she was forced, maybe it was her parents, or maybe it was something else. But then again, I'll tell him, oh, that's not the case, because like she was like she like yeah, and then like there's a lot of things that could possibly happen, because she never gave information. And what the brain does, it's trying to reach out for the best prediction it can make at that moment. So one of the leading predictions could be it was because of her family, it was because let's say she didn't like me, but then you think that I'm really likable, and there's like that's another form of delusion, that's another form of predictive prediction you have about your identity. You may not even know. Sometimes you can hurt other people without ever knowing, and I've felt hurt by other people and they never know they've done it, and I've done the same with them too. And sometimes years later I recall the memory, I'm like, oh, what the fuck, I did that, eh? Right? I still remember I was still in the high school and we were sitting about this guy and we were actually roasting him so thoroughly, he was on the verge of crying. Back then, if someone was to ask me and I'm like, oh, I'm just joking, and this guy's sensitive, but now I would look back and I'll say, no, I wasn't joking, and it wasn't fuck, that makes me feel guilty, but it wasn't shouldn't have done that. But okay, yeah, I still remember we have done a couple of times. Like we did a dick shit. We made him cry. Who else did I do it with? It was me and my best friend back then. It was maybe Chinmay, and yeah, we did make people cry, man. Cry, like literally cry. Maybe back then Chinmay wasn't there. Like maybe someone else was there with me, like back then, or maybe I was alone. Maybe it was like, who was it? I mean, yeah. So what we did is like make the guy cry because we roasted him so fucking much, and he literally cried. Like he literally cried, and back then I was like, oh, this guy's just so sensitive. And if I were in his position now, that's just me reducing error that spikes about my own self-image, because I think that I'm not someone who can do evil things, because I can do evil things. Not a big deal. Everyone can do it as long as there's incentive for it, right? So I was like rationalize it, or trying to rationalize that I won't do it, but then again, like yeah, I try to reduce errors. So I wasn't rationalizing, I was just, that was the most leading hypothesis I had at that time about myself, right? Because I didn't have the model that says, okay, that humans can do bad things and I am susceptible to bad things and I am a bad person and I may act on incentives, and I'll no, not may, everyone acts on incentives, something like that. And right now I think I act on incentives. So if hurting someone leads to a lot of money, then there's a high chance that I can do it, or majority of the population can do it. There's a high chance, but I wouldn't say it's 100% that I'll do it. Risk to benefits, I guess the ratio matters the most, right? But yeah, yeah. If I ever became a billionaire, this kind of things that I say on the stream would be really bad for my self-image. Who cares? Aha. At the end of the day, they cannot take away the value that you're building, I guess. So yeah. But I just think it's being honest with myself, I suppose. A lot of time it's just being honest. The feeling of surprise, that is to say, might be the way of pursuing useful information that would otherwise be thrown away. So what happens when the precision goes wrong? Yeah, I would say I was being an asshole back then. Yeah, I shouldn't have did the thing that I did with that guy right now because of my predictive. But then again, that back then predictive model was different. Now it was I don't feel like an ounce of guilt. But yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Like I don't feel like okay, like that I should go into him and say sorry and repent for it or something or anything bullshit like that. No, I don't feel that way. But like yeah, according to my current predictive model, there's no necessary point in hurting people unnecessarily. That just pretty much shows that how fragile your ego is or something, or how um you need to feel a sense of pleasure from actually condemning someone and reducing their status hierarchy or something just through words, right? Because you feel you're superior above to them. But that's not that. That's just like a try to try to maximize your gain. But it's more like a, how should I say? It's like a like it's not that you did something and then you received like a status. What you did is that you reduced someone else's status and then that was like a easier. So that's why people are get to tens up or stuck in a loop where they constantly back bitch about the people, right? So what they do is they reduce someone else's status in their brain so that they feel higher, proportionally higher to them, right? And it feels rewarding in the moment. So there's incentive for that too. That's why there's entire industry doing that. And from industry, I mean your parents, take your mother if you're religious or something. Like yeah, religious people tend to do a lot because like the hierarchies are kind of an abstract and in money you can pretty much calculate the hierarchy and no one have a say about it as long as you have the money in the bank account. People know you're richer. But when it comes to religion, I mean like yeah, there's literally no way to know who's actually good and bad. So people like kind of like constantly trying to find errors in someone else's behavior that can be mocked according to religious principle as inappropriate, and then they kind of like yeah, but and then they feel superior to others or something. But that's just not a better way to live a life, right? That's just pretty much because now what happens. I think religion itself doesn't make any sense, right? By actually worshiping the god, but that's not the point. The point is like it's much more efficient to what they say it's much more efficient to like yeah actually get the things done, do some good things, and then feel good about yourself rather than removing someone else's status or something, and then feeling good about the simple oh I'm better than that person so at least my status is not in. So you erase error about your status still here but actually erasing someone else's status or something. Yeah, but yeah, I should call my mom to bring food upstairs so I can read while I'm studying, like I can eat while I'm something, right? So yeah, actually I can give it a shot. Let me just call her and tell her to bring food upstairs. Yeah, and that's why when okay yeah. Yeah. So call my mom. She's going to bring food upstairs, and yeah, it feels nice to have parents that cares, right? It feels nice to have people around you that cares. Literally, kind of make me cry, but after all this, you know, why do I seek status? To dominate the world, to have being in a position that is advantageous? No, I just seek status because I want to be accepted by the people. At least that's what I realized for a long time. I always had decisions since early childhood. I always had, yeah. Oh, maybe I should tell my mom to bring a water bottle. I'm not gonna start with my sorry ass and start, like everyone's have their sorry ass. But since early childhood, I've always felt lonely, right? And yeah, I just felt like I still remember they used to call me Gyan Chodu or something. Gyan Chodu is like a Hindi word. In English, it means like a knowledge fucker or something. Pretty much, yeah, someone to. And then I used to not talk about the things that I cared about, and then I used to talk about the things they care about. And over time, I realized that it wasn't the most appropriate thing to do because it makes you feel lonely, even if you have friends around you, a lot of friends around you. So yeah, maybe I thought that if I could actually read a lot of books and earn a lot of money, then I would be accepted by the society of the masses. But yeah, I would. I don't know if I'm always going to be an outlier, but yeah, for a long time, or at least for as long as I live, I think I'm going to be an outcast. And there's a lot of times I've cried about this, like in the past too. A lot of times I've cried about this. But yeah, and that's why I do have a lot less emotion attached to people or connection, even though I do desire human connection myself, right? Kind of contradictory. Like I desire insane human connection, and I want to be part of society, and I want to have friends. Like it's been a long time since I last had friends or something or anything like that. But yeah, Fuck that. Makes me cry. And I have a habit of smiling when I'm happy and smiling when I'm sad. So yeah, I think that kind of something you develop over time, especially like yeah. Huh. Fuck that. Like yeah, okay, I should tell my mom to bring water too. Now she's coming upstairs or something. So yeah. Well, yeah. Huh. And my mom is really good though, not gonna lie. Dad is really good too, man, to me. That kind of like makes me feel more burdened about the desire to be accepted and do something valuable. Because when you have nice parents around you and you kind of like always kind of disappoints them, or they're kind of like, they're not disappointed. It's not my mother disliked me at all, even after I told her that I don't want to believe, I don't believe in religion, but yeah, you still want to really value or really be, no, it's not like I'm not valued. It's like you really want to have a, okay, she's gonna come upstairs. Ha. But yeah, you pretty much want to be you personally accepted by people, and then you think they are not like that you are not good enough or something, and yeah, that's kind of like pretty basic, like because you build an identity that, oh, I'm not achieving the things that society wants to achieve, and even though I'm putting so much efforts, they're not needing to anywhere, and people do not think that I'm doing anything meaningful by reading book about predictive processing, even though I'm supposed to be a dropout or something. Yeah. Hmm. And now she's going upstairs. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Let's go back to work. So you were on some pathologies of precision, right? And I'm okay here. For instance, maybe when, maybe not, you'll collect evidence. Eventually, when prediction error disappears, everything is fine. Pathological case. Error given far too much importance. The result small and still brain trees. Explanation invite. Someone is hiding. Someone is following the chaotic lacus. Isn't necessarily that prediction is wrong. The problem begins earlier. The brain first says the prediction error is incredibly important. It's follow naturally. Why hallucination happens. Imagine random background noise. Normally, brain says just a noise. Prediction error stays small. Nothing happens. And I imagine brain gives that some huge. Suddenly, it becomes an explanation. I heard a voice. Someone spoke. Your brain reaches for someone eventually. I see that hallucination isn't random. The brain then try to explain it. Why the illusion happened? Now comes the second step. Suppose you hallucinate a voice. Your brain asks, "Oh, where did I? Government is watching me. The God is talking to me." So guiding perception. Remember the features to belief, attention, evidence, belief. Seems to support the illusion. Or hallucination. Belief created to explain it. Belief reinforces future perception. Belief cannot be treated as completely. It's a reinforcing loop. Okay. Perception. Where evidence searching itself reinforce the prediction. Evidence reinforces, or evidence searching, or evidence itself reinforces the prediction. Yeah, evidence itself reinforces the prediction. So your evidence itself, yeah. So whenever you're trying to reach it, yeah. Human are okay. Human constantly reinforces. There's a bubble. Humans reinforces on themselves. Okay, it sounds very complicated, but it's okay. Human constantly reinforce on themselves. That's why religion persists, dogma persists. Okay, I think. Okay, that's yeah, United States. I think it's more like prediction errors creates okay, first of all, you have prediction, right? Then there's sensor input. Then because of sensor input, there's prediction errors. Like precision decides the importance. Like error gets ignored or travel upwards, leading hypothesis that comes after that, and then you have like not enough evidence to reduce the error. So action reduced. We take action to reduce the error, right? Just do it quickly. Okay, this takes a lot more time than whisper flow. Okay. Evidence. Let's go with high. And because of the precision, we look for certain sort of evidences that justifies the error, and then the and then the evidence itself reinforces the prediction. So you make a prediction, right? And then to check whether the prediction was true or not, the error appears, and you want to reduce the error by checking if the prediction was right or wrong. You actually constantly bias the precision, right? Sorry, but not bias the precision. Sorry, precision bias the evidence taking. So the more the evidence you take actually get biased because of the precision that you have, and precision itself is like there's also a model of precision, like how much certain sort of sensory input matters, and like because you have how much prior sensory inputs have reduced uncertainty, so precision assigned to them is more than others, right? In order to reduce uncertainty, you try to collect evidence or something. That's why reload, and what happens, where evidence itself reinforces the prediction creates error, right? And like, sorry, prediction sensory input creates error in the predictions, and then like the precision once again biases the evidence, which reinforces the prediction, which biases the evidence even more, which reinforces the prediction even more. At some point, you start drifting from the actual reality. So humans constantly reinforce on themselves. Like, yeah, that's why religion persists, dogma persists, thousands upon thousands of religions persist, thousands upon ideologies persist. Some people start to believe certain things, right? Predicting processing in itself is the same mechanism. Everything is just a reduction of uncertainty. That's its claim. But and then yeah, that's kind of like constantly makes us bias because we are constantly thinking in terms of like, okay, how this reduces errors or something. So we are looking at the world. So now the essential input we are receiving for the world changes on the prior prediction because we have changed. We have a different bias or something, but different precision. I'm gonna come back in a sec. Yeah, so I've got some food here, so I'm gonna close my camera. Okay, so you'll have video capture closed for now. Like, yeah, but I will still be speaking and reading stuff. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so here it says like clean mechanical current hypothesis generates sensory predictions. Actual sensory input arrives, mismatch produce prediction error, precision weights that error. Weighted error changes either the model or the action, which changes the next sensory input. Repeat. The output of the system feedbacks on the system itself. Yeah, it refines it. It refines it. That's why you need high thinking. Like, yeah, that's why thank goodness I bought the premium version of the ChatGPT. It has highly complex thinking. It hallucinates a lot less. It thinks like, yeah, like a lot better. I guess, yeah, man, not gonna lie. If this becomes like even better and better, I mean, I don't know how better it gets, but over time it's certainly gonna get better or something. So yeah, let's just start eating. I'm hungry. There may be some sound of eating you may hear. So it's like first we have, oh, hello. So currently we are eating. That's why I'm not able to show my face or something. But yeah, I'm gonna put the mic away a little bit and reduce my noise so that you don't hear me biting. But yeah, so it's like, yeah. So recorrection matter first. The prediction does not create the error. The mismatch between prediction and received. Yeah, I didn't hallucinate that. It's conflicting signals. No, inherently a confirmation bias machine. Yeah. So what happens in predictive processing is like, okay, like the very idea that they gave is like it's not a contradiction machine. Like it constantly, it doesn't self seal itself by actually validating. Because if that was the point, we wouldn't have survived for millions of years. You know, that kind of like given gets given, I guess. Okay. By the way, guys, the people who have joined, they can talk in chat if you guys gonna. Welcome to the stream. I'm currently eating. That's why I'm not able to speak much, I guess. Well, I am eating, reading, and streaming, I guess. That's why it's getting harder and harder to speak, I suppose. It's not inherently a confirmation bias machine. It's reality tracking mechanism that can become with precision or something that was calibrated. Yeah, but that happens. I guess you hallucinate a reality, and that only happens if the hypothesis is too strong. So, for example, if you believe in something too strongly, then what happens is that you constantly you have a strong hypothesis. Per se, let's say there's a god. You believe in that strongly, right? And then you have high precision and science supporting signals. So anytime someone says there's a god, it reinforces that hypothesis. And anytime someone says there's not a god, you think that okay, every now in that situation you may think, oh, everyone have personal beliefs, and this guy belief doesn't necessarily have to be true. So assign low precision. Precision means importance, right, to the conflicting signals. Action, and then next time, let's say there's some contradiction. Someone says, okay, according to the laws of physics, how can there be a god? You know, because that implies like infinite energy or something, and how can there be infinite energy when the universe in itself is finite or something, right? How can something can exist for infinity or something, right? And then you come to a conclusion. It's like, okay, God is beyond physics, because what you're pretty much doing is like you're sampling the, like, you know, you go online, maybe on YouTube or maybe somewhere else to answer find the answer to that question, and you say, okay, action sample mostly confirming evidences. So yeah, so what you do is like you say, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So you go online and you find out, let's say something that says, okay, which kind of like validates your hypothesis, I suppose. Uh, but which says, okay, God is beyond physics. Like, yeah. So now strong hypotheses become even stronger. So someone now can now come with, so yeah, sampling become even narrower. So in the future, if someone comes with the idea that God is false, you're gonna reject it even more, right? And that loop closes on itself. It constantly reinforces itself or something. Yeah, and that reinforcement loop is the problem why confirmation biases and stuff like that appears. And I guess in a lifetime, it's possible to have that. Like, I do bet millions of people have that kind of thing. The patient might start to hallucinate or something. Okay, something bit me hard, I guess. Yeah, I guess we need to move forward, I suppose. Okay. Become compromised. Yeah, so, hmm. And this is talking about hallucination too. And this explains why hallucination happens, but they are not actually saying that we believe that hallucination will happen in a lot of cases, but yeah, it can happen. But models just drift too much. Well, model drift happens. I think it happens in isolation over times when nothing is interpreting your model updating, when hypotheses are getting stronger and stronger. Fine, I'll do it myself. Do you guys remember like the coming of like what they call my mouse is kind of oily now. Shouldn't have been done that. My keyboard is all right, but it's just mouse is slightly oily. Let me just clean that with my what they say. Okay, it's a lot oilier than I expected it to be. Okay, I shouldn't press accidentally any wrong button. I guess yeah. If that happened, I would be in a terrible situation. Yeah. Yeah, back to the game, bitches. So that I'll do it myself. I'll do it myself. Okay, the way I'm saying that just sounds so nice. I'll do it myself, as if you're some sort of a Giga Chat coming back to fight the wall or something. I'll do it myself. Fine, I'll do it myself. Breaking precision, assign explanation, generated belief from future attention changes. Like yeah, so hypothesis, test contradictory, high quality evidence, prediction. This happens mainly on strong hypothesis. On strong hypothesis become when you have like a what they say when you are when you are a child, so strong hypothesis fail and then you're a prisoner of those hypotheses for the rest of your life or something, or for most of your life. But a lot of people do kind of like change those hypotheses. The perception and belief for is the present story suggest both and will attempt the match top down prediction. I think I should have this set to high, because there's a high chance of hallucinating at that point if it's not set on high. And speculates the fast between the neural areas may also prediction error when implemented is that the understanding the positive symptoms requires understanding disturbance in the generation, especially the prediction that suggests that malfunctions within the complex functioning. Perhaps fundamentally rooted in abnormal dopaminergic functioning. It falls error than the all the way up the hierarchy forming in a severe case. Supportive cycle, yeah. Each generative model falls back down. Misinformed false perception and bizarre beliefs, thus self-confirming cycle. If you self-insulated, confirming control C that. Confirming simul, they confirm themselves. A highly potent cognitive strategy. Sorry about that. Bayesian framework can be used different drug when given to healthy volunteers can temporarily mimic variations from key features, the ability of prediction coding framework to connect with learning and experience cooked upon the pharmacologically modifiable way of precision weighted prediction errors. To help make sense of ways in which different drugs can temporarily mimic variation from psychosis here to the key features, the ability of the predictive coding, complex alteration in both learning and experience contingent upon the believe the author quotes. Yeah, others said the hallucination, cannabis, and dopamine. Varieties of disturbances. Framework. Fluid spanning of level constitutes, it seems to me, one of the key attractors of the present framework. Move from consideration of normal mental state of human. Okay, very select stream, by the way. What? The stream got deselected for some reason. There's more than 7 views. Okay. I see at night views multiply a lot more in the morning because people are more free at night. I can see that. Did someone send me something like a chat or something that I can see? Oh, there's no chat. All right, yeah. It seems to me one of the key attractions the present framework we move from consider computer model. Synaptic currents, neural synchronize, and chemical balances in the brain. The hope is that by thus offering a new multi the interactions among inference, expectations, learning experience, these model may one day deliver the better understanding, even experience they can afford by basic framework of full psychology system. Beyond the spotlight, attention has often been this as a kind of mental spotlight. Okay, so they talk about that, and they talk about some pathologies of precision, right? So like, yeah, the system already command. It's better. The precision prediction error may require brand new generative model gradually to be formed just in a normal learning. This might hold the key. Yeah, strong synthesis, high precision manage. Compared to the conflicting action sample. Hypothesis becomes stronger, sampling becomes even narrower. Beyond the spotlight, attention has often been depicted as a kind of mental spotlight. Is the competition due to limit the high quality neural processing? Okay. Ah, the magnerium, the construction industries. Okay, we finally, oh my gosh, we've read more up to 83 pages. Like, and I think we will be able to complete this book in next 20 days or something. Because it is a big book, I guess. Beyond the Spotlight. Okay. And I found a better and a faster way to read it is through, like, yeah, in the past I was like doing the entire opposite. Right now I first get an explanation from ChatGPT and then read it. Right. And now I'm gonna get even better explanations because I'm gonna use the high thinking processes or something. So better explanations, better understanding. Yeah, man. Fuck myself. If I like, yeah, this is how you build a workflow from scratch. That's why I can get 5 or 10% more learning every day compared to someone else who's just starting out new or something. Right. And that adds up on a long period of time. So yeah. That's insane ROI, isn't it? Other kind of mental spotlights use deployment or fix the competition. Okay, let me just close off the window for some reason. That done. Clark is connecting the old matter prediction and spotlight shining in one location. He claims attention is brain changing how much trust it gives to selection sensory error. What sensory input should derive the beat is likely to be. I mean, not only what the friend should look like. Also, we're looking is likely to provide current. It moves your eyes. Visual errors, for example. Yeah, current. Where reliable evidence should be. Reliable evidence should be. Ah, so at first it takes, okay. Well, task relevant differences are amplified. Final point is. Perception action like are not separate stages. Your current model controls where you look. Determine the sensory input that inputs within the and then cycle repeats. So attention is not a beam pointed. It's like, yeah. Green. The model make you in certain areas. Errors can be reduced. And in what areas be reduced. But if I now, what kind of workflow do you have? That matters a lot more than you think. If relevant signals are suppressed while task relevant signals are maintained. Okay, what if I were to do it like that? Yeah, it shows my some of my hairs, but then again, who cares about that? So yeah. Information. Okay. Now we are at the imaginarium. Attention and action perception now join in mutually self-feeling loops. Weighted prediction errors signals drive us to sample the world and support reflected this hypothesis. Linear prediction are driving us to action. Intermediate perception. Core theme of present treatment offers the best of yet in body and the world. Right. So I need to ask ChatGPT. Okay, ChatGPT, could you give me a short answer? Like I'm starting out this new chapter called actually, you know what? ChatGPT, I'm starting out this new chapter called Imaginarium from Predictive Processing, right? You know, like the book is Surfing Uncertainty by Andy Clark. Of course, you know that. So, I mean, what shall I like? It's chapter 3. So, what does this chapter talk about, and how important and relevant it is? And what are all the chapters again? Could you give me yeah, perception or stories such as this process? The kind of reveals. Okay, let's give it the context. The power of prediction machines. Okay, we're constantly predicting, adjusting the volume noise signal. Right, so with that, hearing bang, signal spotting, delicate dance between top down and bottom prediction, how constantly each heat mental level you have predictions going on, how each of them quickens its prediction errors, how prediction errors propagate upwards, how precision is assigned, how reliable is the information to assign, how reliable is the information, and which information must be ignored or something. The taste of an action, and then you have gaze allocations of like on the basis of precision, so where which parts, like you don't just have like what they say simple model. You have a model that actually knows where to look and like so where to assign precision to reduce the error. So you have a model of precision. You have a model of precision itself. Precision itself. So it's like you know where to look to reduce prediction errors. Sometimes you don't know. You don't have a way to reduce it. So you try out different actions and look frantically. So you you anything that can function. Construction embodied prediction. Okay. Ah, act again. Okay. This matters precision, right? So yeah. I silent school next. Imaginarium. Relatively right. 80 pages. 80, 80, 160. That's like half of the other part. And then you have two pursuit eye movement simulating smooth pursuit distributing network tricking redux. Fear in the night, a nip of hands, like scaffolding prediction of lazy. Conclusion. So yeah. Embodied prediction. Imaginarium. Okay, with first that is then the power of prediction is done. And then embodied prediction is like the next topic, and then scaffolding prediction. Yeah. top-down prediction, current sensory input equals. Tree's perception is construction. Construct was a possible cause of sensory single. Even apparent dark perception is already more. Just seeing something is. Seal departments, they construct one another because they usually try to explain the same. Represent one object or event and generate. Controlling and negotiating with structural perception. You have precision for there, precision assignment, and then how is the machine reproduce perception, imagination, memory, dreams. Like, yeah, it's up to how prediction controls action. How precision dynamically reorganize processing, where prediction does not serve us from reality. Our brain itself, our body and memory is internal, how language, cultures, or theory. And begins with model of cognition. Okay. We were on 80 page number or something. Yeah. That's still the start of the book. The book has about 200 or more than 200 pages. Come again? It is more than what? I don't know. Okay. Being human, putting prediction in its place. Okay. Chapter 9, is it? Like, yeah, the lazy brain and appendix. We are not gonna, of course, read that. Machine problem, puzzles and pitfalls, prediction in the wild, represent engine breaking good. Exactly. Okay. We have, it's a big book. We have 300 pages and we are somewhere about 100 pages right now. So it's like 10 days to kind of like, yes, it's a 1 month book. But I'll take about somewhere about 1 month to complete the book, which is kind of all right. I mean, how long has we been into predictive processing? Okay. I should track like how long we are actually reading certain specific books from now onwards. I think I don't remember how many days we took to complete that, but okay, let me just open up the YouTube and check that out. Okay, not file manager, sorry. Okay, let's just open YouTube. Okay, where is it? Varik.Verilion. Okay, let's just check it out. Here we can say content. I can go live. Predictive. If only it was thought. Oh yeah, there were 2 days where I actually wasted time on. If those 2 days weren't there, I would have actually got 100 pages. And at the start, it was slow because of like the way I was learning. Like the workflow we have right now is a lot efficient than compared to past, finding the most asymmetric bugs. Right. So this is where leverage is hidden in complex systems. This is the reason why escalate for markets. Okay. So I think we have only been reading predictive processing. Okay. Okay, finding the most 15 to 16. Like, yeah, like, okay, 15. I guess day 15 was invested on trying to find another book. Right. And 16, and yeah. So what we can say is like, okay, so we have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days. Right, we have been reading, but remove 2 days and worth of like time because of like a lot of different things we did on the wild stream. So we've been reading this book for 7 days, and in just 7 days we've got through page number 88 and a lot of understanding that I've done background behind the scenes, right? Which is a very fast form of learning. I'm not gonna lie, because like within 7 days, reading 100 pages of such a complex and dense books, and I think what Able allows us to escalate our learning speed over something was using AI or something. So we use the AI to actually explain a lot of things simultaneously, and then we read it. Like and the start, like we could have escalated even more if you would like do that from the start. That's why if you're not using AI to study, start doing it. Literally starts doing it, because like that just gives you far much more advantageous position or something. But yeah, let's just come back to the topic that we are supposed to read here. Damn, I suppose. All right, and I think by the okay, what we have 29. This month has ended. By the halfway in the month, we would complete this, and then we'll move on to which one should be the next. Okay, like maybe evolutionary science. I'm thinking of maybe stock market or investing. I guess a little bit about investing, because I'm building an account like on in interactive brokers, and once that account is done, I can actually start investing and stuff like that. After yeah, so yeah. Then I can start investing, and we can learn about investing too there too, right? I mean, investing allows us to pretty much find out the bigger problems, which kind of like help us in our journey to yeah. Stream reading, create a simple script for the video, and yeah, we were designed to actually design and learn about the industry that we were supposed to make our SaaS product onto. That was another thing, but I didn't do that, right? And creating YouTube video in itself was kind of hard. Okay, but what I did find out, and yeah, but I can actually upload on X, because like yeah, that's what I find out. But that's only if in the future later, when I really have to go out marketing and actually yeah. Yeah, and there's a massive prediction error that's going on. So brain just never it's kind of like starts playing because it just knows it has priors. But and that's how those strong hypotheses never allow the contradictory data to actually update the hypothesis or something. Hmm. Construction industries. Oh, that's my dad, I guess, who's doing that noise. Once this is done, I really don't know what to actually read after this. Like, what gives another asymmetric edge? Evolutionary biology, or maybe cybernetics, or thermodynamics, or we don't know after what this one we're gonna search. So maybe evolutionary biology. I never completed evolutionary biology. A lot. I understand a lot from it because of different things and different sources, but never read the main stuff by myself. That's why I want to read it. But I guess at that point we're gonna decide and start reading, which gives like the most asymmetrical leverage for businesses too at the same time. All right. I guess that would be evolutionary biology, especially about how stable. Again, like yeah, there's a replication. So first of all, there were a couple of things that I understood back then, but I didn't actually got to the main entire mechanism, right? And I didn't complete the selfish gene. Neither I started the behavior. So I talking about multi-level, like how multi-level things kind of like generate the behavior that we have. Okay, I really don't like my armpits here, but it's like a multi-level model of like how we start as evolution that causes a law, and then there's like a time horizon hormones, and then there's like immediate responses, and then there's like entire layers of why and how behavior even emerged in the first place, which is entirely really good books if you want some predictive edge over humans, and especially once you start seeing how they reduce uncertainty or something. Mm-hmm. My chair is making a lot of noise. It doesn't used to make it. Okay. So yeah, let's just start with Imaginarium or something. I think a lot of reasons why I am able to do it so fast is because I can explain through AI. And another thing is like when I'm off camera, I kind of like study a lot too. Then I don't read. I just try to understand what I don't get and ask AI and bombard it with questions. Man, that's one of the best ways to learn to actually have predictions, and those predictions gets validated and corrected. Construct a construction industries, right? Should our story suggest in the process like that that is both constructive and oh, so noise cancelling wasn't on at this point. That's so sad. Should I check interactive brokers and see if they verified my file? I mean, they will take a couple of days, and I think in less than tomorrow. I applied today for the application. I think by tomorrow or maybe the after tomorrow, we would be in. But then again, yeah. That is too. I mean, the reason I keep on changing strategies, is because nothing roots uncertainty fast enough. This is uncertainty fast enough. That's the case. So for example, like the reason why we went from the hardware to now like the software, and then we're building for nothing reduces uncertainty fast enough, and when nothing is applying, you kind of pivot, and then you realize nothing is working, so that kind of like creates helplessness, like where you can tell yourself that no matter what you do, it's not going to work out or something, and the conditions are rigged against you or something. But that's not what I think, because I do have a predictive model that tells me I can win, and there's a lot of market, and there's a lot that can be done. But in certain cases that happens, and that's why there's learned helplessness too there. But yeah, I would have to say nothing is reducing uncertainty. Nothing is like uncertainty fast enough or something like that. Like it's not doing that at all. And that in itself is a problem. That's why we will work for days when it comes to our businesses, and then we will see if it compounds. Oh no, but then you have multiple types of uncertainty. First is like world model, like related to world, like having an entirely different model about how things goes on, like and then you have like related to money, and then related to health. Right, related to world can be reduced through books over time. Related to health is already being used, reduced to gym and diet. Related to money, now that's a big problem that we have. Right, that's why uncertainty kind of like spike under those kind of conditions and circumstances, and then you kind of try something out, and if the feedback is slow enough, I think like one of the like related to health and the world is like already gives a lot of feedback, but I think internal feedback too and external feedback too, and ability to understand and kind of like relay and like because I have started going to gym and stuff like that happen, and you can just see the progress over time, which is kind of inevitable. But when it comes to related to money, that becomes an entirely different problem. Right, and then you have to kind of like mitigate all these three, and then there's related to belonging, at least per se. But at the end of the day, they may seem like you're reducing uncertainty across domains, but biologically, what you're doing is you're chasing belonging, right? And for belonging, you need money, status, and stuff like that. You're chasing definitely status. You're chasing like a coherent predictive model, right? Yeah, that is not have much errors, right? So that kind of like gives you predictive edge or something. And then you're chasing a couple things which are biologically advantageous or something, right? Yeah, you're chasing those stuff. And what I do think is like and the money is like one way to actually reduce safety, belonging, status, or stuff like that. In my case, it's most likely status and belonging for money, and related to health is like So we are constantly trying to reduce uncertainty across domains. Across domains. That's what you are doing. Again. And again every day across domains, and that's how it gives Like, well, it's pleasure. There are some domains that I've neglected, right? Which is like social communication and stuff. But there are some domains which are extremely pleasure. I mean, like, yeah, people try to reach and say to pleasure, like they're kind of trying to chase high of that dopamine or something because because it gives the illusion of reducing uncertainty across multiple domains simultaneously. But it's just ain't doing anything, I suppose. It's a process that is both constructive and stable in perception, or so is process both constructive and stable. Perception of the stripe. How do you predict, or how do you create a system that predicts at multi-level? Hmm. That would be insane if you're able to build something like that in the future using AI. Modifying. Hmm. Hmm. Then it can actually kind of like, yeah, take a really really what they call ability to actually pages isn't bad metrics, but ability to actually constantly generate prediction errors or something. So it's like you can constantly create a system that constantly connects with oh yeah, but constantly can use AI to actually reduce prediction error by using AI which gathers information online or something. And then it builds models, so it can use multiple AIs at its disposal and communicate with them. Right, and it can make prediction about the next sensory input rather than just or it can access Google or something. It can search certain websites or data or something, and it can see what contradicts it. Like yeah, like it can ask questions, but then again, like it needs to first know the causal structures and prediction of what comes next. But first of all, you need to give it simple like information, and it makes predictions. So for example, we can build like the world's first company that actually builds a predictive processing, like, or something. Like I can do that in the future if I want to make billion of dollars. I guess, like, but the idea is pretty simple. It's like you make predictions. Okay, but how do you make a system that makes prediction? Okay, what is prediction? The prediction is just next sensory input. That's it. The probabilistic what's going to come next, right? Errors pretty much inability to explain why the sensory input appears. You don't start from anywhere. There is no ground. There's only connections and relationships. But the difference is like it doesn't feel much if its predictions are wrong. It just constantly keeps on updating. Because it constantly tries to reduce errors. Errors pretty much what didn't work. Probabilistic Bayesian updating, right? And then you can build that in a code. And then you can assign it billions of parameters or something to actually have the ability to build something like that. Mm-hmm. It doesn't ask questions, it just sees it up here and it just start predicting. But how do you teach it? What I'm thinking right now is like thinking of creating a simple code base that works on predictive processing so that you can teach and build a model of reality using predictive processing using a code base. So it's like a brain, but just a brain, not a human, not a body, not eyes, not anything like that. And they can use access, like they can use in order to resolve uncertainty, they can use AIs. That's like one of the most efficient ways they can reduce uncertainty, like gathering data by asking questions. So how do you teach them that? At the start. But they can already predict at the start when you have neural stages. Like what you can do is like, okay, they can already statistically represent, but it's like they are predicting what's come next. But what you can do something else entirely, and you can actually just make it like, yeah, a model. So for example, it just doesn't represent what's going to come next. What it does is like, I need to understand how current AIs function so that I can know exactly where to update this thing. There are billions of parameters. You can predict what comes after statistically after something, but they don't build a model. And it records a mismatch between, okay, predict paradox, and then you have multiple systems that predicts. So currently it predicts chats. and words. I think doing it would teach me far much more than just sitting here or something and like, yeah. How conventional AI functions, right? That would be entirely different thing to learn. But yeah, extracted from the world, then the same machine you can learn without the world's currently supplying that pattern during across edge colors, actual sensory input constraints in contexts. Reality control during imagination. Now close your eyes, imagine a dog. The dog. Weaker sensing, and this is where cognitive perception constructive. The brain already possesses machinery capable of building a multi-level sensory pattern from stored knowledge. Once that machinery exists, imagine dreaming are near not entirely separate inventions. The basic mechanism can be used in different directions. Perception construct the present. Sensory input corrects it. You can then choose not to act. The brain use internally generated possible experiences to test against before paying their real world cost. Cog is not saying every stimulus response create can imagine using a direct section action rule without constructing or into a hidden generate that what sensory activity could occur if a world were true. Nor would they be capable of mental states such as dreaming or stored knowledge to generate a kind of multi-level version analog of driving sensory signals. Let's just do a certain specific thing. ChatGPT, could you find out which company would be the first one to implement predictive processing into their AIs in the industry, in the AI industry? Once they have predictive processing, which is possible, you already got super intelligence. Why? Because as soon as you have predictive processing, you already got super intelligence, right? A model that is so diverse, a model that is so as soon as you have that, and then yeah, not super intelligent, yeah, intelligence at almost anything that compared to the humans do, right? multi-virtual analog for driving sensory across multiple layers of processing, like you're doing anything close to hand, like your simple seeing. The image in this is so-called corn sweet illusion. To most people, the center place tiles appears to be a very different shade of gray. Non-conscious predictions or expectations concerning the world surface tend to be equally reflecting rather than be on edges. Centrifying involves two differently reflective surfaces, different amounts of light. Infer falsely find this case that the we have to get into investing first, or at least faster. And that's why the next book would be on investing, entirely different domain than what we are reading right now. But the next would be on investing. And after we are done with that, Oh my gosh, I cannot even imagine. As soon as I get into investing, that's like hundreds of thousands upon thousands of like prediction errors, man. Can't wait to learn those things. Entirely different industry than what I'm getting right now or something. Teaches me about markets, about how much value you can generate from its current cash flow or something. Yeah, man, entirely fuck. We are going towards that. So now I have to stop streaming. Like, yeah, we'll continue this. Like, yeah, cross model and multi-model effects. Like, yeah, we are on this topic. We'll continue to tomorrow, maybe day after tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be building our first microcontrol startup or something. Yeah, I want to earn money and fucking build it, like spend it all into these companies. They're gonna produce insane value in the future because that's what I realized is better positioning rather than building value by myself. Because yeah, at my stage I can't build $1 billion business, but I can invest a couple of lakhs or a lot of money by earning a lot of money into these companies and ask my dad to give me some money to invest in these companies, man. That's why we have to learn about investing too, simultaneously building per se. Yeah, man, I learn a lot. I'm not gonna lie, I learn fucking too much at this point. Yeah. I learned so much. But then again, yeah. The next book would be most probably on investing, and because I realized like yeah, it's always better to start investing early, and then we can build up from there too. Like investment is best to start like earlier you start the better. Like I'm not gonna lie, the earlier I start, it's better. Like if I start 1 year later, and if I start right now, I would say I should start right now, like literally right now. But then again, we have to finish this book, and it takes time to find the best book on investing too. But after this book is done, which is gonna take 15 days. After that, we're gonna start our of course investing book. Mm. Because values. Oh my gosh, yeah, values too, right? Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, man. Yeah, so next one would be on one of the most asymmetric investing books ever. Right. We are not going to start with something as like normal as Intelligent Investor. I don't think so. That's the most asymmetric book. We're going to find the most asymmetric book, and then we're going to get started into investing industry or something like two, right? So we would be reading, and after that is then like reading is pretty much learning. That could be about coding, businesses, AIs, or whatever, right? Or about neuroscience, or okay, there's this what they call a mosquito. I think this was the mosquito that kind of like bit me about 10 minutes ago. And okay, it's fucking gone. It's gone. It's damn gone. But yeah, guys. I mean, like yeah, we would be reading investing book because I think that's better to start earlier, and after that we would be reading after predictive processing. I don't know what we would be reading, but yeah, we would be reading something special again, like maybe evolutionary science or maybe complexity science or maybe cybernetics entirely. But yeah, at the end of the day, predictive processing do give a worldview that kind of like gives me an edge. But then again, it's better to always collect from more worldviews, right? So bye bye.